Hello students and welcome to video 1 in chapter 5.1 Introduction to Operations Management, and this is the first chapter out of 9 in topic 5 Operations Management, and this is very much an introductory chapter. As you can see by the learning objectives, there's only one of them. It's a very short chapter, so we should be able to get through this fairly quickly. So the first thing we want to do is define operations management. So operations management is the process of designing and managing the production process. So using resources to produce goods and services. So again, here we can define resources. We did this in an earlier chapter, but resources are things such as the land we use, labor, the machinery used, raw materials, etc. And these are across the primary, secondary, and tertiary sectors. So in a nutshell, operations management is just producing goods and services, the management of that production process. And these days, we also need to include the tertiary sector. When I did business studies back in the 90s, it was very much focused on the primary and secondary sectors. But now with the tertiary sector becoming a lot bigger, we need to look at the production of services as well. So to give an example, this is a production process for a pizza company. And so what we've got on the left, we've got the inputs. So the inputs are the resources or the raw materials, if you like. So again, we're going to be using raw materials such as cheese, flour, etc. The machines in this situation, we've got the pizza oven, labor, which is the person who's putting it in there and making the pizzas and serving it. Management will be the manager of the restaurant who's making sure that everything's working, etc., etc. And then in the operations management process, we go through a transformation process. This is basically the production process. In chapter 1.1, this is kind of like the value added. So this is what the business actually does. And what they do is they then get the output, the production. In this situation, we've got the pizzas being produced, which are the goods. So operations management, in a nutshell, is the production of goods and services. So topics covered in this topic. Now, strictly, you don't really need to know these at this point because we're going to be covering these in future videos, but there's actually very little content in this chapter. So I just wanted to go through some of the things that we can expect to come up. So firstly, it's called methods of production. So this is how we go about producing our products. Do we mass produce lots at once, or do we do it one by one? So we've got mass production. One by one is called job production. We're going to look at something called break even, which interestingly used to be part of finance, but now is in operations management, which is what's the minimum number of goods or services we need to sell in order to make a profit. We've got things such as where should production be located? Should we outsource it? Should we offshore it? How can we ensure the best quality good or service? That is an HL topic in quality management. And also another HL topic is how much stock we should store. So we'll look at just in case and just in time stock management systems. So those are coming up. Finally, how does operations management interact with other parts of the business? So again, we in a business, they're going to look at the operations management department, and then it's going to affect other departments. So for example, marketing, quality and packaging. So the marketing department are going to market the product. They're going to talk about its quality and its packaging. But then they need to be able to make sure that the operations management department can meet those needs. So marketing says this is a high quality product. Can operations management actually produce a high quality product at the moment? Secondly, standardized production versus custom made. In the production process, do we have one standardized product which is the same all the time? Or do we produce products which are custom made for different customers? And obviously marketing is going to react in different ways to those. Human resources, we talked about mass production. So generally they're going to buy machinery in order to enable an assembly line. And that may require some layoffs or redundancies, which the human resource department will have to deal with. And also things such as amount of training and skill required. So in the production process, do employees need a lot of skill, or is it kind of using machinery to do that? And pretty much anyone can do that. So they'll need to hire people with the appropriate skills. And then also motivation. So people working on a production line are likely to be less motivated than those people who have some sort of creativity over the production process. But again, we'll get to that later on. Finally, Finance, again, if we're going to mass produce, then we're going to need to get some machinery, which tends to be more capital intensive. So finance will need to be able to organize the money required to buy those. And then if you've got a labor intensive production, so you're using more labor than people, then clearly then instead of the machinery, you're going to have employees who you're going to need to pay them salaries and give them bonuses, etc. Right, that's it. Very, very short chapter. I'll see you next time.